you want to go from face-offs maybe to some breakouts, or do you want to talk about just D zone in general or D zone coverage? So I'll give you a thing here. So D zone, the four things I kind of wrote down was D zone coverage, being a supporting role, face-offs, and breakouts. So we just did face-offs.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to do one of those other four or just talk
Well,
about in general.
I think it all ties into one.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
here's the biggest thing. I find that in youth hockey, or as guys get older, when they're tired or they become a little bit lazy or a little bit impatient, that's where things fall apart. Okay.
Yep,
So
wait, you want to try something? Just put it back on the table.
Okay, so in your D zone, let's just say I'm a right winger. I'm using right because I'm on the closer to the right side. Okay, so basically in your own zone, and this is like the foundations. Things can change, and different systems can be different systems. But the bottom line is, you're responsible for this area here, right? You got the D. So you've got the D. You've got the high slot, the dot, and really, if you look at that, there's not that much skating. Not a lot of skating. And then the wall. Okay? It's not a lot. You've got a quarter of the ice basically that you have to take care of. And if you understand that, that's very, very helpful to just understand that. Okay? So now, just because it's not a lot of ice, definitely doesn't mean that it's not a lot of work. Okay? But then there's a lot of patience, and sometimes the patience takes a lot of work. Okay, so with this one guy that I was working with in video, let's say he was a right winger. Let's say the puck was over in this quadrant of the ice or behind the net or whatever. So where he should be is taken away, like in that home plate. What a lot of people call this the home plate. Where he should be is there with a stick down and or to the middle of the ice and head on a swivel to look where loose guys are. But if he starts drifting too much here, unless you're doing like an over a swarm, where some coaches will say
system specific, but in general, we're talking in general.
In general, you're safe here, and you got a D here, so you don't have to move a lot. Just be ready. But what happened was with this guy was watching, and then he would just started drifting out, just slowly, because he's watching the game and he's getting excited. Oh, maybe it's going to come loose or whatever, and he would be like actually at times outside. So if the D was here, he was outside the D. So we're talking 12, right? Yep. So he's not an idiot. He just hasn't been taught this yet. Mm-hmm. So the key is to be patient here, because this is the thing. If the puck squirts loose anywhere in this area, he's only like a few steps away, right? Whereas if he's over here, it's a lot of work to do the skating. Okay, so that's number one. So
I want to point out, because you can erase it, but I want to point out what you said before, how, because I said D zone coverage, supporting, and breakouts, and what you just pointed out there is all three of those things. So if you're in a good position in the middle as the winger, that means that you're covering your D. So that if you're in that spot, you're covering your D, which is great. You're in a good supporting role if a puck squirts loose, which is great.
That's exactly it.
And you can also quickly release for a breakout if the puck goes somewhere else.
Yes.
So all three of those things, to your point, are covered under one category just because you're in a good position defensively on the ice, right?
Right.
So I wanted to throw that out.
So where guys fall apart maybe on this side is that if there's a lot of play in this area, creeping out this way or creeping too much this way. Mm-hmm. So now if there's a rim or something like that, it's too much skating. Mm-hmm. So it's patience here. Head on a swivel and waiting for that second to pounce.
Yeah. So I remember this actually being a problem with myself in minor hockey. I remember that fading thing where you just get puck watching.
Yeah. So coming out here.
I would say, maybe correct me if you don't agree, but I would say for wingers, have a mark on the ice that can keep you centered. So you have a mental cue, because if you don't actually have something that is going to hold you to a spot or around a spot or something to remind you where you need to be, then it's easy to start puck watching and start drifting. So especially when you're younger, if you use like top of the hash marks, top of the circle in that area, use that as a mental check. So if you're D zone and to your point, if it's a patient point of defensive zone where it's on your off wing and you're not really involved in the play necessarily, you'll have a marker on the ice where you can kind of check that you're in the right spot. If you start to drift, you can get back, and that's how you can start to correct it if you're not used to thinking about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and to me, dots and hash marks are real good.
Yeah.
So just to finish off on here, so now let's just say the D or the center or the winger ends up getting a puck and you get possession. And this is where people don't understand as well, is that this coming up through the middle here like this, or the middle here, is a lot easier to make a play than you going out here or outside the dots,
Hmm.
right? That's hard because there's people there, right?
Yeah, a lot of space, a lot
Yeah.
of people, hard pass to
Yeah.
make for sure.
So the other thing is, what I was saying to him is, so if the play's down in this corner, more or less, if you're outside the dots, well, that's to defend. You want to keep guys outside the dots. That's number one. But if you are outside the dots and this D just happens to go here, and this is what happened, right? The puck would come out here, and it was like a big battle to get there. That's a lot of hard work. Whereas he could have just stepped one or two steps
He's already in the
and
lane.
taken away that.
Mhm.
So that's that. That's the number one in your own zone is right there.
So do you want to touch on shot blocking a little bit? Might be a good conversation.
The thing is when you go out, you basically just want to get in a shot lane. So when you go out there, you want your stick on the ice, or like, and get the shin pads out there and just go out there fast. The bottom line with that is when you go out to a D fast and it's not a long distance. So as I said before, I think it's taking away time and space from people. So if like, for example, if there's a D here and you're a winger down here, if you have to go all the way out, maybe 20, 30 feet rather than 15 feet, you just made his job a lot easier. So like, you take away time and space. The important thing about that is when you come at him fast in a short distance, he unless he's like elite, he doesn't have time to think or see other plays. So you're doing your job. You're making his job very hard.
Mhm.
Where your job is like a little bit more easy, right? And if you can ever take angles, angle them out a little bit. So you want to angle them out.
Flush
But
towards the wall.
to block a shot, you want to get out there fast, stick on the ice, and get out there, right? The next part on your D zone would be if it is on your strong side, and this is where things fall apart. Like this is my opinion, or this is what I've seen a lot. So let's just say you're a right winger, okay? Right winger here, and the play's down in this area, anywhere in here. What the biggest tendency, and this is what I was saying to this young guy, unless the coach tells you otherwise, I don't really want to see a guy chase a guy coming down here, because if the play's down here and you say, well, you know what, I can get this loose puck right here, and you go down and you don't, what that opens up now is now you're down here, and this opens up this whole area of the ice, right? So if it comes out, now you're skating.
Spot,
And when I notice when people get lost because they think they can maybe get a loose puck or help out, it's one mistake, and then that's where you'll see a shift where you're in your defensive zone for 30, 40 seconds, or the puck's in the back of your net, or you just get tired out because you're chasing, and it's simply because this guy thought he was going to help out. So when you see things like, so for me, this is your arse, your butt is facing the net, your stick is in the middle, and you have patience. So now, if there's a loose battle here, there's your puck.
So your feet are towards the walls.
Yeah.
So your feet are east and west, not north and south.
Well, and if you look, if this is your ass, it's a nice looking ass.
Yeah, ass to the middle.
Your stick is here. You can still see. You got a pretty good range of vision, right?
Yeah, the old head on a swivel.
Head on a swivel, man, 100%. But now the important thing is when there's a loose puck, and I don't like to get too below the dots. I don't like my winners because you got a centerman, you got D that can do that work. And if you go down, then you got, one guy can beat three, and one pass can beat the whole team. So when you do see the loose puck, it's get there really, really quickly. Now this is your job, right? Or if the puck comes up to the D, now it's a couple of steps and you're there.
Yeah. Maybe one other play just to touch on is if your D has the puck and walks down the wall.
This guy?
No, your D at the point.
Okay, yeah. This offensive D.
And that D starts to walk down the wall.
Oh, down the wall.
Right?
Okay.
So they have the puck coming down the wall.
Yeah.
So maybe you did that thing where you went to the middle and you're flushing them towards the wall.
Yeah.
How far do you chase that guy?
This guy?
Is that your guy?
Now it's your guy.
Okay, but if let's say he gets down below the hash marks, are you chasing this guy? If he goes for a skate all the way around the net, are you chasing this guy, or what are you doing?
If he's here and you're flushing him out, take him.
Right?
Take him.
If he beats you though, gets lower,
If he gets lower and
are
he
you
clearly
chasing
beats
now?
you,
Or are you handing off?
well,
Or what do you think?
that's there's
Right.
a lot of situations there.
Just
I mean,
yeah.
if you've got two guys here, then probably not. But you just keep your stick on his puck. If there's no
Mhm.
hitting, if there's hitting, you try to seal him off. But then you should have a center and a D in this area
Yeah.
to do it. But there's too many situations there to say that.
And that's my point of bringing that
Okay.
up. This is where you still have to be able to play hockey comes in, where, and I was saying this to you yesterday with when one of my old coaches used to say that he would give us a situation or a system that we need to run, and then someone would ask him, well, what if this?
Yeah.
And he would basically give the answer you just gave. You got to read the play, you
Yeah.
got to play hockey, you got to see where your
Yeah.
guys are at, you have to communicate, and this
Yeah.
is where that hockey IQ conversation starts
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
If you're committed to this guy and you're with him and there's nobody taking him and you're close enough where you can still engage in the battle, maybe it's a good time to go.
Yeah.
Maybe not. You got to see what's going on around you.
Yeah.
And if your team does handoffs and that's what your coach is teaching, then you have to be able to make that handoff and not get out of position or get running around in your own zone. So that's
Yeah.
why I wanted to bring that up. Is it's
Yeah.
not all this stuff is going to be like a do this or do this. You still have to be able to read hockey.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And then maybe the last thing in your D zone that I would feel is important, and again, it's the hard work is like short areas really, is when the puck is on that. So if you're here in the whatever, you're a forward, sorry, winger,
Mhm.
okay, and you're in this area and you do see a puck, the play starting to transition to your side, right? Or you see maybe a rim's happening. Once you see it, now that's just a straight line, or maybe you're a little higher depending on what your coach wants. It's just a straight line. It's not all kinds of work, but you need to get there fast. So one of the next things is that when you see, let's just say a D pulls out or a centerman pulls out with the puck and is going, what a mess this is, huh?
You're doing fine.
Mess, and they're coming this way. The thing now is, this is where hard work. This is a winger. This is where hard work makes a big difference. So if you see it's starting to transition, get there fast and get there hard. Like wherever area the coach wants you to be, because if you lollygag about it, you've made this guy's job harder, the winger or the centerman or the D. So if you get there quick, then as he's coming around, he can see you in position. So now that gives him an option right away. The other thing is it makes the other team have to work hard. So if you do this in a slow motion, or like, you're not urgent, then you've made yourself easy to play against. But once you see, okay, this is my chance to get open or to release, to give this guy an option, it's just another way of thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not about always I want to get open. It's about, okay, this guy's it's coming to the other side. I'm going to come over here as fast as I can. I'm going to make them think, but I'm going to make this guy's job easier. So if I pull someone with me, I leave them a lane, right? But the bottom line is you're giving your D or centerman who's carrying the puck an option quicker, and you're making the other team work harder. If you go slow, they don't have to work hard. If you go fast, then you're forcing them to either get there, or if they don't get there, then you get to do whatever you want with the puck after.
Yeah. So you're either an option or you're making space for somebody else.
Right.
And that's where you're kind of playing
Right.
into the team.
Yeah,
the
and don't
team.
forget the other thing is that you're making the other team work.
Mm-hmm. So do you want to talk about maybe like wall work a little bit, or is that enough? You want to talk about getting pucks out, like that kind of conversation? Because that's something that wingers struggle with quite a bit.
Yeah, I think
Are you
that.
going to go on the board or no?
No, you don't need the board for this. Okay. As far as the wall work goes, this is where, as you can see, it's very important to just make sure that you know how to take rimmed pucks or how to receive a pass off the wall, right?
Mhm.
So I think that I don't need to go into detail on that, but I think that if you practice taking pucks off the wall, like soft, hard, using your stick, not your skates, and learning to learning how to carry it, learning how to chip, learning how to send it through the middle, and just tons of reps with that. That will help you just significantly. I'm talking for the youth levels.
Yeah.
As you get older, then it becomes a little bit more specific.
Yeah, I think just maybe 3 different scenarios on the rim, or not the rim, the taking pucks off the wall. One is the rim, being able to handle that. 2 is getting a direct pass when you have pressure, without pressure too, but with pressure especially. So that'd be like kind of ass on the wall, getting it on your forehand. And then the third would be if it's going to be a battle. So if the puck's coming up your wall and maybe the D's there, the F3 comes down, and being able to get in that battle, you have to be able to handle those 3 different situations. And then you mentioned the picking the puck up with your skate thing. I never really understood that. Like, the only time that really makes sense to me is if it's going to be a battle. Like you can't get a clean stick on it. Like you go kind of eat it against the wall and wait for help. But I remember like I see that all the time is people teaching.
Yeah, I
Do you
know.
pick it up with your
Old school.
skate and
Yep.
then get your stick on it? So
Yep.
why would you do that? Why would you not like
Well,
your
yeah,
stick?
there's a lot of bad things can happen when you do your skates.
Yeah, and it takes an extra 2 seconds to get it from
Yeah.
your foot to your skate, like what, or from
Yeah.
your foot to your
Yeah, you
blade.
always want to.
That's weird.
Basically, if I'm a right winger, I'm just trying to think. Right, I'm a
Yeah, right winger.
right winger. You want to, as you're going there, you want to do this.
Right.
You want to
Yeah,
come
angle
up
up on
a little
it.
bit of an angle,
Mhm.
so that you can carry the puck a little bit. Now, as you do this, little shoulder check to make sure you have an idea where this guy's not right on you or if he's backed
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So,
So
but yeah, 100%.
good. Cool. That was extremely thorough. Well done.
Well, I hope it's a lot and it's a little bit of a mess, but
No, I think it's good, and I think it'll be helpful no matter who is looking at it, because this is what I was mentioning at the start of the episode is with parents is they think of hockey as skills.
Yeah.
They don't think of hockey as that, but that's
okay.
hockey.
Okay, so yeah, let me just reiterate the D zone real quick.
Mhm.
Okay, so to reiterate as a let's say a winger. So if I'm a right winger, this is basically my area. Well, should go to the blue line. This is what I take care of right here. That's what I'm responsible for. Middle of the ice and out. If I chase down here, I open up the spot that I'm responsible for, and that's where a lot of chaos happens. When the puck is on this side, if I drift, I open up not too much. So patience here, and then all your work is done basically from there. Yeah?
Yep, great.
Does that make sense?
Yep, totally.
And then
And that's offensively and defensively. It all
well,
starts from that.
it starts. This is so, and that's what I'm saying. Like if you have patience, if the puck's down in this corner, and a puck squirts out now, or your guy starts carrying the puck, a 10-foot pass, 15-foot pass, short pass is a lot easier to make. Or and the other thing is, that's a lot easier to make and to get the puck out than when you drift. Okay. The other thing is that if you're here, like you're the weak side winger, if this offensive guy tries to move the puck, like let's say to get someone in the slot or to the D, you have a much better chance of blocking that, intercepting it, getting in the way. Over if you're over here, then you have zero chance. So now it's just hard work, and then you run around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, great, man.